Hello, my name is Arun and welcome to the Vegetarian Family Traveler. Today we're in Lelystad for the Airplane Museum. About 45 minutes outside of Amsterdam, tucked away in the polders of Flevoland, lies a time machine. Welcome to Lelystad Airport, home to Aviodrome. It's the largest aerospace museum in the Netherlands. This isn't just a building full of old planes. It's a 6,000 square meter journey through human ambition. It wasn't until 2003 that the museum moved here from Schiphol. Because the museum needed more space for giants like the Boeing 747, Lelystad became the perfect home for the Aviodrome. So when we walk around today, remember, we're standing on a piece of history that was literally pulled from the bottom of the ocean. Before we step inside the hangars, you have to realize that the ground we're standing on didn't even exist 80 years ago. This entire province, Flevoland, was reclaimed from the sea. In the late 1960s, this area wasn't even an airport. It was a giant, muddy frontier. As you can see the old hangar and the control tower over there. So this used to be an old airport, which is now a general aviation strip where you can get flight training as well. For thousands of years, flight was just a myth. The story of Icarus or the sketches of Da Vinci. But look up at the ceiling here. You'll see the pioneers. It all changed in 1903. The Wright brothers weren't scientists with huge labs. They were bicycle mechanics who understood balance. Their first flight lasted only 12 seconds, but it broke the spell forever. I'm standing in front of the first plane by the Wright brothers. Through this museum, I will walk you through the history of aviation. From the first plane, which you can see has no safety, to the latest 747 with all its safety features. Aviation evolved at breakneck speed, moving from a daring hobby to the ultimate tool of war. In World War I, planes were the eyes in the sky, but they quickly became lethal. This was the era of the Knights of the Air, where pilots flew in open cockpits with no parachutes. The plane you see here is the Fokker 1, which was a fighter plane from World War I. The Industrial Revolution really brought a change into how planes were made. You can't talk about Dutch history without Fokker. Anthony Fokker and KLM formed a partnership that made the Netherlands a global hub. KLM is the oldest airline in the world, still using its original name, and Fokker planes were the workhorses that made it happen. To understand these planes, you have to look at the beating hearts under the cowling. Check out the Renault 125. It is a classic example of early air-cooled engineering. It's elegant, raw, and you can see every moving part. But then you move to the heavy hitters, the Pratt & Whitney Cyclone. This is a radial engine, a masterpiece where the cylinders are arranged in a star pattern. This was to get equal airflow for cooling. These engines didn't just fly, they roared. This was a not so successful World War I bomber, which was turned into a civilian airplane. By World War II, the jump in tech was staggering. We went from wooden biplanes to pressurized cabins and heavy bombers. You can see it in the rivets and the reinforced steel here. The museum shows how the desperation of war forced us to master the skies, taking us from canvas wings to high-performance aluminium in less than 30 years. This was the first flight to the Dutch East Indies in 1924. This was the Douglas DC-3. Almost 13,000 were built and it was the first plane of KLM. Almost 200 are still flying now. But if Fokker is the history, the Lockheed Constellation, the Connie, is the glamour. With its dolphin-shaped fuselage and the triple tail, it was the first airplane to fly above the weather. The plane you see behind me is the Lockheed Martin 749. Come with me for a tour. The Lockheed Martin 749, also known as the Constellation, was the first ever pressurized plane. The reason it was pressurized is because if you're above 10,000 feet, you cannot breathe as the air gets thinner. So, this was the plane that could fly higher than anything ever before. I'll tell you how easy it is to switch from economy to business class. There we go. This is a very nice model of Schiphol in the 1960s. It has changed a lot. We've gone from wooden propellers to the International Space Station in just over a century. Walking through the space exhibit makes you think, we aren't just looking back at history, we're looking at the blueprints for our future as a multi-planetary species. This is a model of the International Space Station. This is the Gemini spacecraft module. It was the predecessor program before the Apollo programs from 1965 to 1966. And finally, the Boeing 747, also known as the Queen of the Skies. Walking through a jumbo jet parked on a Dutch polder is surreal. It took flight from being a luxury for the elite and turned it into something for everyone. It's the bridge to the modern world we live in today. This is how the plane looks like with all its interiors. And now, this is how it looks like with everything stripped away. How many of you are aware that there's an upper deck on the 747? Aviodrome isn't a don't touch museum. If you've ever wondered if you have what it takes, jump into the flight simulators. Managing your pitch and roll while trying to land at Schiphol is a total rush. For families, it's a giant playground, from Morse code stations to baggage handling.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
There we go. Yes. I'm not going to lie, that was one of the best landing I've seen today.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
And then leading up.
8 knots.
Our thrusters. Slow.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go. Very great job.
Thank you. I just finished landing in a 737 simulator. It was quite fun and it was definitely a good experience. The instructor there in the simulator was doing the thrust levers while I was doing the controls, and in the landing he was the one who did the thrust levers, but I did everything else. Now I'm waiting in the queue for another simulator for a general aviation aircraft.
Eyes on here and keep it here to fly at that altitude. As long as you want to fly straight ahead, the horizon should remain horizontal.
Horizontal.
And preferably with the blue side pointing up. Sorry, I like bad jokes.
Yeah, okay.
This one forward, please. Gentle on, on the rudders.
Yeah.
And rotate, gently pull us up.
Oh.
Gently up. Yeah, keep it there. That's it. You got it. Perfect. Not so. Yeah, keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You got good instincts. Really, I'm not too fast yet. There. Keep this angle going. A little bit more.
A little bit more.
You want to fly right there. And wings level.
Yeah, wings level there.
You can tell by the roads that we've turned 90 degrees. That's the fun bit about flying in Flevoland. It's all 90-degree turns here. The one thing I will tell you is be a little bit more. One good way to lose altitude is to just pull back on the throttle a bit. Keep it down. Alright.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Move your focus to the end of the runway.
End of the runway.
We're going to cut off the power and just going to glide it in and keep it in the air as long as possible.
Yeah.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, that was fun.
Yeah, I know. You did great.
So why did I enjoy this trip so much? Because it puts our world into perspective. We live in an age where we take 12 hours flights for granted. Being here reminds me that only a century ago, this was all considered impossible. It's a reminder that if we could go from a wooden glider to a 747 in a single lifetime, imagine what the next generation is going to build. And that was the end to our visit to this museum in Lelystad. Hope you enjoyed it. The highlights of this trip were the simulators and the way the museum broke down the history of flight into different years. Make sure to like, subscribe, and see you next time.